Welcome students, welcome to our channel Future Endeavors. As in the last class, we have discussed about the introductory concepts of work. Today we will be continuing from the last class. So let us move on. We will be today discussing about the various units of work. So let us see, just briefly recapitulating from the previous class what we have done. We have seen that the formula for the work done by a body is force into displacement into cosine of the angle between the force and the displacement. So this was the formula for work done by a body. Now, as you know, what is the SI unit for force? Obviously the SI unit for force, as you know, is Newton, denoted by the capital letter N. The SI unit of displacement is meter, denoted by letter small m. And as you know, trigonometrical ratios do not have any particular unit as they are simple ratios. So the SI unit for the work turns out to be work. The SI unit as you can see turns out to be Newton meter. Now, does this unit sound familiar to you? I think it is sounding a bit familiar to you. As you can remember, in the previous chapter that you have studied, that is the turning effect of force, there you have learned that the unit for the SI unit for the turning effect of force, or which we have termed as moment of force, the SI unit of moment of force was also same as that of Newton meter. Now, how can you distinguish between these two physical quantities then? Seeing the units, the unit of work, if I write it as Newton meter, this will be obviously a bit confusing as moment of force also has the same unit, Newton meter. To avoid that confusion, we have used another term for this Newton meter, which is here a unit of the work done, and that term is nothing else but joule. So joule is nothing but, as you know, is the name of the scientist James Prescott Joule, after which the unit of work has been given. So the SI unit of work is joule, and I think you know the criteria for writing the SI units. If we write the unit in full form, then it must always start with a small case letter. Even if the SI unit is named after the scientist, when you are writing it in full form, it starts with a small case. If you write it in the abbreviated form, then if it is named after a scientist, it should be written as in capital, like Newton. So the SI unit of work, as you can see, is joule, and the CGS unit of work is, as you can see, it's the SI unit of force is Newton. Likewise, the CGS unit of force is dyne. So dyne centimeter is the CGS unit, which has been also termed as erg, ERG. So as you can see, the two units of work are joule and erg. So just let us come to the definition of joule. So how can you define 1 joule of work? Now remember students, to define any unit, you must observe the formula. So what is the formula of work being denoted here? So work is written as force, displacement. It's a product of force, displacement, and the cosine of the angle between force and displacement. So if I say that we are considering that 1 joule of work is being done, so how can you define 1 joule? Let us see how can you define 1 joule. So say, for defining 1 joule, we are stating it like this. Let us see the definition of 1 joule. So when you are defining 1 joule, students, so I think if you observe the formula, it will be very easy for you to define 1 joule. say if we apply a force of 1 Newton on any body. So we are applying what? The force of 1 Newton on any body, and on application of that 1 Newton force, that force displaces the body by 1 meter in its own direction. So when we are saying that the force is displacing the body in its own direction, you can easily understand that the value of the theta, angle theta, must be equal to 0 degree, isn't it? So here we are saying that the product of this 1 Newton and 1 meter will give us the unit 1 joule. I hope everybody can understand this relation. So now if we try to define 1 joule, how can we define 1 joule? You may note it down. We can define 1 joule as the amount of work done by a force of 1 Newton when it displaces the body 1 meter in its own direction. That is, the displacement and the force are both in the same direction. Then only you can say that 1 joule is equal to 1 Newton into 1 meter. So this is the definition of 1 joule. I may repeat it once again. 1 joule of work is defined as the work done by a force of 1 Newton on a body of mass. It may be anything, but it displaces the body by a displacement of 1 meter. In that case, the work done is said to be 1 joule. So I think everybody can understand now the definition of 1 joule. It is rather very easy. Okay, now if I say that what is the relation between 1 joule and arc? What is the relation between 1 joule and arc? So how much arc is 1 joule? Can anybody think of? So this is also very easy, as we have derived the relation between 1 Newton and 1 time. Likewise, you can also derive the relation between 1 joule and arc. So how can we derive the relation? See, 1 Newton, as you have learned previously, is equal to 10 to the power 5 time, and 1 meter is 10 to the power 2 centimeter. So combining this 10 to the power 5 and 10 to the power 2, if you multiply, we get 10 to the power 7 9 centimeter, which is nothing but arc. So this is equal to 10 to the power 7 arc. So you can say that 1 joule is equal to 1 joule is equal to 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power 7 arc. So this is the relation, basic relation between 1 joule and arc. So joule and arc are related to each other as follows. Okay, so I think this is the relation between joule and arc is clear to you all by now. Okay. Now let us move on. We have discussed the various units of work. Now I think everybody of you must be knowing that there are some other units of force also that we often use, and those units are called the gravitational units of force. And the gravitational units of force are kgf and gf, as you may be knowing. In that case, if we consider the force in the gravitational units, that is kgf, then the unit of work can also be written as kgf meter. Unit of work can also be written as kgf meter or gf centimeter. So this can also be the units of work. So by now I hope the various units of work are known to you all. So now let us move on to the next topic. Now you may be thinking, what is the next topic that we are going to learn? So regarding that, if you just think a little bit into a more practical sense, you see, when can you do work? If I ask, or if you just think it on your own, that when can you work? There is one very simple answer to this question. I think many of you have by now already answered my question, that we can only work when we have energy stored in us. So in physics, work and energy are two simultaneous physical quantities that have the same meaning. So our next topic discussion that we are going to read or learn is energy. So how can you define energy in a single line? See, energy, this can be defined as the capacity of doing work. In a very short line, you can see capacity of doing work is energy. Energy is nothing but the capacity of doing work. Isn't it so? Or you have experienced that when you work, what happens? You are doing some work at the expense of the energy. When you continuously do some work, you feel tired. Why? Because you are spending some energy. Thus, we can see that work and energy are very much related. Now, there is an interesting fact that when work is being done by a body, what happens when a body does some work? What do you think will happen to the energy of the body? Obviously, when work is being done by a body, the energy of the body decreases. So remember this, when work is being done by a body, by this word, by a body, in that case energy of the body decreases. Okay? And when some work is being done on a body, work is being done on a body. So slight change of word and the equation changes. In that case, the energy of the body increases. So see, a slight change in word on and by can make a very big difference. When we are saying that energy increases, you can easily understand that some work has been done on the body, and when you are saying energy decreases, we can easily understand that the body is itself doing some kind of work. So remember these two things. These are very basic concepts, but very very important from the perspective of your development of the concept. So these are the two important facts that you must remember. Now let us see what is the SI unit. Okay, before going to the SI unit, remember another thing. Then when work is being done by a body, that work is being considered as negative. That work is being considered as negative when work is being done by a body. Why this work is considered negative? Because the energy decreases. And when certain work is done on the body, remember, certain work is being done on the body, then the work done is considered to be as positive. As you can see, energy increases. So remember this always, work done by a body is negative in nature as it leads to a decrease in energy, and work done on a body is positive in nature as it leads to an increase in energy. So these are the two concepts. Now moving on to the unit of energy. Can you say what is the unit of energy? As from the very beginning we are saying that energy and work are both simultaneously the same things. Obviously the energy and work will have the same units. So considering the SI unit of work to be joule, obviously you can say that yes, SI unit of energy is also joule, and the CGS unit of work is arc. So these are the two units of energy. These are the most commonly used units of energy. Now there are some other units of energy also. So what are those units of energy? Let us see. You might often have seen on the packet of some packaged foods like say chips, or the Cadbury that you are eating, the chocolate that you are eating, you have seen that a term is being written on that packet, calorie. I hope you have everybody noticed this term, calorie. So what is this? This is basically a unit of energy. So calorie is nothing but a unit of energy. But remember one thing, the calorie unit is not used for all kinds of energy. This calorie unit is being specifically used for heat energy. The unit calorie is being specifically used for heat energy. This is used in case of this calorie. The unit calorie is used to denote the energy which is present in either food or fuel. Food or fuel. So this unit is used to denote energy present in food and fuel. Food and fuel. So remember this thing. Calorie is not being used for all kinds of energy. This is being specifically used for the energy present in food and fuel. So this is calorie, another unit of energy. Now moving on to the next unit. So calorie is a unit which is being used. Now moving on to the next unit, there is another unit of energy which is called electron volt. I think everybody of you have noted this unit of energy, calorie. If not, please pause the video and note it down. Okay, we are moving on to the next unit. Next unit is electron volt. So next unit is electron volt. Okay. So what is electron volt? Let us see. So another unit of energy is electron volt. Electron volt. In short, it is letters E and capital V. Electron volt. What is this electron volt? Now, electron volt is an unit which is used for subatomic particles. Subatomic particles, what does it mean? Protons, electrons, these are the subatomic particles. So electron volt, what is this electron volt? Electron volt is the amount of energy that an electron gains when it is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt. See, electron volt is defined, this is defined as amount of energy gained by an electron when it is accelerated through a potential difference we are writing short it as PD of 1 volt. Now many of you might be thinking of what is the term potential difference used here. This has been a brief introduction about this potential difference has been given in class 9. Okay, if any of you have not understood that concept properly, obviously this potential difference, this concept of potential difference will again be, we will be teaching it in the syllabus of class 10. So please don't worry. For now, please just try to understand this thing, that when an electron is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt, the amount of energy that the electron gains is referred to as 1 electron volt. And this 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. So joule and electron volt are related by this mathematical relation. 1 electron volt equals to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. Okay, so these are the various units of energy, not electrical but only energy. Okay. So I think the concept of energy is very much clear. In this class, we will move on to the next topic, that is power. We will be giving a brief overview about the various kinds of energy in the next class. We will be not discussing it here, but don't worry, we will be discussing about the types of energy in the next class. Let us today now move on to the next topic, that is power. So what is power? What do you mean by power? Let us see how can you define power. See, you might have often seen that the same work is being done by two persons in different times. Say you and your friend are both climbing stairs and going from the first floor to the third floor. Now you are a bit quick, you are covering up this distance in, say, very quickly within 3 minutes, and your friend takes this little bit more amount of time, say 6 minutes, to cover the same distance. That is, you are going from the first floor to the third floor within 3 minutes, your friend is taking 6 minutes. Now who will be termed as more efficient, you or your friend? I think the answer is very much clear to you. Obviously, as you are climbing from the first floor to the third floor in 3 minutes, you are termed as more efficient. So when you are saying of efficiency, we will be thinking of one term, that is power. So what is actually power? Power is actually nothing but the rate of doing work. Rate of doing work. So how can you mathematically define power? So if I consider P as a symbol of power, then power is the work done or the energy gained by a body in a certain time. When you are saying rate of doing work, it means the time within which the work is being done. And as work done and energy are two almost equivalent terms, not almost, they are two equivalent terms, we can define power as also energy by time. So the rate of doing work is termed as power. Now power, while defining the SI unit of power, you must be remembering that the SI unit of work or energy is joule, the SI unit of time is second. So the SI unit of power is joule second inverse. This has been abbreviated as watt. Okay, this has been abbreviated as watt. This has been also named after a scientist, hence the abbreviated form of watt is written in capital W. So this is the SI unit of power, watt. Okay, so I think you can define watt as we have defined joule. Obviously, yes, as from the very mathematical relation you have defined joule, you can also define 1 watt. So can you say that when we can say that 1 watt is the power, when a work of 1 joule is being done in 1 second, then the power developed is said to be 1 watt. So 1 watt can be defined as the power developed by a body when it does some work of 1 joule within a time frame of 1 second. Then that power developed can be regarded as 1 watt. Okay, so the bigger units of watt may be regarded as kilowatt, megawatt, as we can also take the higher units of energy as kilojoule, megajoule, like that. Okay, so we are almost coming to the end of the lecture, but before ending, I would like to introduce you another unit of energy. Yes, you have correctly heard, energy. I think the concept of power is clear to you all now. Now that is another unit of energy. See, we know that power is equal to energy by time. Okay, so kilowatt hour is the unit for the electrical energy that you are consuming in your homes or say offices or anywhere. So basically this is an commercial unit, more preferably you can say that this is a commercial unit for electrical energy. Often this is regarded as board of trade units, board of trade units, or in short BOTU. Okay, so this is the energy that we use for electrical energy in commercial purposes, while you are using the energy either in your home or in offices or anywhere else. So this is the another unit of energy that we use. Okay, so today we will be ending our lecture here. We have discussed about watt, energy and power, their various units and mathematical formulas. In the next class we will be discussing about the types of energies. Also we will be discussing about some numerical problems. Till then, thank you.